Hey guys, so today we wanted to talk about what it would be like for you to actually go to a yoga class for the first time. So maybe you haven't been to a yoga class before and are wondering what it would be like. So of course, just like every gym out there is a little different, or every art class will be different. It's true that every yoga class and every yoga studio will be a little different, but I'll speak generally about what you can expect from a yoga class in the United States, at least, because of course it's different here in Asia. So anyway, in the United States, you can expect in a yoga class that most of the studios will have plenty of mats. So it's quite likely you will not even have to bring your own mat, your own strap, your own blocks, any props, anything at all. Usually that's all provided by the studio. So you would go in, you'll probably have to sign a little, in case I get hurt, legal document. You'll have to provide contact information, so sign something, check in, and then you'd go into the classroom itself, because usually the studio has like a front desk reception area, which would maybe even have a water available, and you can buy t-shirts or buy scented candles, or who knows what else would be there. But usually there's a front area and then the actual yoga studio, and so when you go into the yoga studio, you'll probably notice that it's a lot quieter than the lobby, because when you enter a yoga studio, usually it's a very respectful space where not a lot of talking is done, and if it is done, it's done in lowered, respectful tones, like kind of whispering. And so some studios even ask that there's no talking and once you enter, but that's kind of rare. So and when you'll notice that people will lay their mats down. Usually you can ask, where does the teacher stand, because sometimes in a room you're not sure where a teacher likes to teach from. You can ask someone else in the room, or you can just pay attention to how other people are laying out their mats. Generally, if two people are laying out a mat, you want to have enough distance that if you spread your arms out all the way wide, you wouldn't touch the other people's fingertips. So that's a good distance to have if it's possible. But if the studio has too many students and too small of a space, then just as many mats as possible, usually, as long as you have at least that kind of distance in between, because you can stagger so that you won't touch, versus but it's an intentional, someone has to step forward and someone has to step back. Anyway, also usually there's even sweat towels in case you get sweaty. There's usually a rack outside where you can put your purse and put everything. Usually inside the yoga studio, you don't bring your bag. You don't bring anything other than yourself or your yoga mat or your sweat towel. Some yoga studios do allow you to have your water bottles next to your mat, and some studios don't. And so that would be something that you just kind of look around. Do other people put their water bottles next to their mat, or do they not? I think it's great etiquette to not have your water bottle next to your mat, but if you're a beginner and you're in a studio that allows for that, then go for it if that makes you more comfortable. So you can expect the teacher to stand in usually one position, one part of the room, lay out a mat, and then usually the teacher will demonstrate how to do certain poses. She will walk you through the sequence that he or she, of course, that the teacher, he or she has planned, and they will just do breath by breath, step by step, and will usually demonstrate. If the teacher is not demonstrating, then usually the whole class will be a mix of beginners and people who are more familiar with yoga. So then you just kind of follow along. If someone's getting into downward dog, you don't know what that is, and the teacher says, okay, everyone, downward dog. You're like, oh no, you just look to what other people are doing. Then usually the teacher will give, if she's not, or he or she is not demonstrating, she'll give a lot of verbal cues. Hands are going to be hip distance apart, fingers spread wide, legs will be hip distance apart, work on pulling the heels towards the ground, sending the hips to the back, etc., etc. There'll be a lot of verbal cues if there's not the demonstration going on by the teacher, him or herself, or there'll be a mix of verbal as well as physical demonstration. So anyway, that is just a few little things to expect. Usually a class takes place for under 60 minutes, but of course there's shorter and longer classes available. You can wear any clothing that makes you feel comfortable. I just wouldn't recommend jeans or anything that doesn't have that flexible factor, but you don't have to buy any particular brand, or you don't even have to wear those tight, yoga pants. You can wear loose flowing pajama pants, like anything that makes you feel comfortable. I've seen people wear bicycle shorts, volleyball shorts. I've seen people wear very thick, heavy sweatpants. I've seen people wear everything. And so it's whatever makes you comfortable and makes you feel like you can move. And again, just nothing like jeans that wouldn't actually allow for stretching and flexibility growth. So yeah, just that's a few things that you can expect in a class, and I hope that it was useful, and I would love to hear if you are about to go to your first class, and if you have any questions, give me an email, wildyogatribe@gmail.com.